Have you ever tried to lose weight and felt like you were doing everything right, but you still weren't seeing results? Chances are you've been following some bad advice. Today, I'm going to bust 5 of the most common fat loss myths that are really keeping people stuck. These lies, I get so frustrated with these lies because they sabotage people's progress, they waste time, and they leave you frustrated. This is lies that people tell you on Instagram, on podcasts, on social media for clickbait type things. And I'm here to completely eliminate your confusion and get you back on track. All right, you guys, today's episode is going to be, I might get a little fired up because I get so frustrated when I see people on social media in particular, on Instagram in particular, who make blanket statements about nutrition or about fat loss just to get you to click on their post or to watch their reel. It's like I'm going to demystify or debunk, I should say, 5 myths that will hopefully clear some things up for you and eliminate confusion and sift through the BS and allow you to unfollow maybe certain people who say these types of things. But before I get into the first lie, I want to remind you that the day this podcast comes out, the workshop's going to be tomorrow. So if you're not listening to this today or tomorrow, then you're too late and there'll be another one coming up soon. But you can sign up for the Build Your Intentional Life workshop Thursday, April 17th at 5 p.m. Central Time. I want to help you organize the different areas of your life, your health, personal, career, financial, spiritual, and relational. Because I know you're driven. You're trying to make progress in all of those areas and it's overwhelming. Let's organize the overwhelm. Let's organize the chaos so you can feel in control of your life. Sign up for free today. Go to nickcarrier.com/intentional. We'll hop on a group Zoom call and you'll get a masterclass on how to eliminate the overwhelm and organize the chaos. Go to nickcarrier.com/intentional. For now, it's time for some truth bombs. It's time to simplify health and fitness and tackle these popular myths to set you free from confusion. Let's dive into it. Lie number 1. You have to cut out carbs. Here's the truth about carbs. When it comes to fat loss, let's continue to remember that a lot of this conversation, and I'll try to always provide the context, a lot of this conversation is around fat loss. When it comes to fat loss, the most important thing is that you're doing something that is sustainable. The second most important thing is that you're in a caloric deficit of around 300 to 600 calories per week. If you need to learn more about how many calories you should be consuming, check out this last episode that we just did last week on how many calories you should be eating for fat loss. You can watch it right here if you're watching on YouTube, or you can go to the last episode on the Apple Podcast app or Spotify. But you need to be doing something that's sustainable in a caloric deficit. Then you need to make sure you're getting sufficient protein intake to make sure that your muscle mass stays intact, or you might even be building muscle. And then after that, the quantity of carbs and fats that you consume really does not matter as long as they equate for total calories. So to give you a quick math equation, 1 gram of carbs is 4 calories. 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. If I am consuming, let's say, 50 grams of carbs and 20 grams of fat, 50 times 4 is 200 calories. 20 times 9 is 180 calories. That is 380 calories total. So the fact that it's 380 calories is the most important thing when it comes to fat loss. Then 200 of those calories are coming from carbs. 180 of those calories are coming from fat. It doesn't matter the proportion of how many calories are coming from carbs versus how many calories are coming from fats, as long as it adds up to 380. You can come up with all the different combinations of quantity of carbs and quantity of fats. If they add up to 380, you're going to have the same response to your body fat loss goals. And so that's why you don't have to cut out carbs. Now, what I will say on the kind of the caveat side of things is that oftentimes it is the unprocessed simple carbs that are making your calories go too high. If you're eating simple sugars and breads and pastas and all these kinds of things that are easy to overconsume and you can eat lickety split, meaning you can eat very quickly, then that is something that's going to probably drive up calories pretty darn quickly. So it's not the carbs that are bad per se. It's the fact that the simple, highly palatable processed carbs are very calorically dense often, and they make you overeat on calories. So what I would say with carbs and fats is that you want to make sure you're eating at least some carbs and at least some fats for different reasons that we can get into in different podcast episodes. So that's my story on carbs. Oftentimes we're in this area of nutrition right now where people are demonizing carbs, and it's not about demonizing carbs. It's about, I don't really think you should demonize any food, but if we're demonizing carbs, you need to be demonizing the processed, highly palatable carbs that cause you to overconsume calories in a short amount of time. So line number 1, you don't have to cut out all carbs. That's bullcrap. Line number 2, you need to eat something like 6 meals a day to stoke your metabolism in order to keep your metabolism faster. I think most people understand this nowadays. I think that when I was young, this was the common belief that the more you eat, the faster your metabolism is. That's just not how metabolism works. The total number of calories that you eat is the main thing. And simultaneously, I guess in this second line, I'm going to debunk intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, for the most part, as much as I've learned about intermittent fasting, I used to have periods of time where I thought intermittent fasting was very important. And now I've had times where intermittent fasting is not as important. It depends on why you're doing it. With the goal of fat loss in mind, the reason why intermittent fasting might work is because it causes you to eat less calories. So if you eat 3 or 4 meals a day, or let's say you eat 4 meals a day, and that totals to 2,000 calories. Let's say another person eats 3 meals a day, and that totals to 2,000 calories. Another person eats 2 meals a day, and that's 2,000 calories. It's all the same thing because the total calories are the exact same. The amount of calories that your body will burn over the course of that day are going to be the same. The amount of fat that your body burns over the course of that day is going to be the exact same. So just because you're eating less meals, that's not why you're losing body fat. You're only going to lose body fat because you're eating less calories than you would if you had more meals in a day. So line number 2 is that you need to eat 6 meals a day. Alongside of that, eating 2 meals a day is better for fat loss. That is a lie. That's the lie. Lie number 3, cardio is king for fat loss. Again, I think a lot of people understand this from a knowledge standpoint, but they don't necessarily live it out practically. Their exercise routine doesn't necessarily reflect the fact that they know cardio is not king for fat loss. And why is that? Let's say I want to start off by saying cardio is not bad. Like, I love cardio. I'm training for a marathon right now. So cardio is not bad. Cardio is great for heart health, and it's great for a whole lot of other things. It's just not the optimal thing for fat loss. If you have the goal of eating less calories than you burn, that means you need your metabolism to be pretty fast. That means you need muscle. So resistance training is important. And you need to make sure that you don't overeat. And I know that personally in my experience with a lot of my clients, is like, if you do a really intense cardio session, then you're hungrier a little bit afterwards. Maybe not immediately, but a few hours afterwards, you're ravenous, you're really hungry, and that causes you to eat more calories. I know me during my marathon training right now, when I go for a long run, I can give myself the excuse of, man, I can really eat a lot of calories throughout the rest of the day, when it's like, if I had the goal of body fat loss, that would completely throw me out of a caloric deficit. And so cardio is not king for fat loss. It can help you provide a little bit extra caloric burn, of course, but if it makes you hungrier than you would otherwise be, and then therefore it causes you to overeat, then it's negating or maybe even worsening the ability to be in a caloric deficit. And so I think that the optimal routine, if your goal is simply body fat loss, is 3 days of resistance training and then 1 to 2 days of cardio. You can always go a little bit more on both, but I would set that as the base, that as the foundation, and then you can go more on either one of those depending on what your goals are, what muscle groups you want to work on, and other goals outside of body fat loss, if you will. So that's what I would say. Cardio is not king for fat loss. Resistance training is absolutely key. And the other thing that I would say is when I did a cut goal last year, the only cardio that I did in order to drop from, I forget the exact numbers off the top of my head, but in order to drop from about 11% body fat to 7% body fat, in order to drop from about 170 pounds to 159 pounds, the only cardio I did was low intensity, was slow runs or slow incline walks. Those are what I did to lose 11 pounds and drop 4% body fat. So lie number 3 is that cardio is king for fat loss. Not true. Lie number 4, fat loss is just about willpower. I think a lot of people guilt other people into the fact that they can't lose weight. It's like, it's not about willpower, and it's really not even just about discipline. Your environment and whether or not you have structure and routine is what matters most. Let me talk about environment. Who you surround yourself with is so pivotal, so critical to whether or not you're going to be successful with a weight loss goal or a fat loss goal. I know for me personally, just to speak from my experience, I am so lucky. I am so thankful every single day that my wife, that Kennedy, values health and she values eating healthy, because if she didn't and she wasn't cooking healthy dinners and wanted to go out to eat to unhealthy places and fast food restaurants, like there would be times when I would be strong enough and say no, but I would give in a whole lot probably. And so I'm so thankful that my spouse, my wife, has the same values that I do with regards to health and nutrition. And so your spouse, your significant other, has a lot to do with that. And I'm not saying like divorce your spouse if they're not having the same health values as you are, but know that that is a real obstacle, and know that if that is a reason why you're struggling to lose body fat, that might be a conversation to have with your significant other. The other thing is like the other component of your environment, of the people you're hanging around, is like if you have kids. I know so many of my clients have kids ages from 2 to 15 on average, and their 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds are eating frozen chicken nuggets for dinner, or eating insert whatever unhealthy thing that they would typically want, or McDonald's or other fast food. And I hear from so many parents that I often eat off of my kids' plates, whether they just do it to do it, or they do it because the kid doesn't eat everything and they don't want to throw it away. They do it. And so if you are feeding your kids these unhealthy things, these frozen chicken nuggets, this fast food, these sugary snacks from your pantry, and you always have that stuff around, like of course you're going to fall temptation to it at some point. I want to be the type of parent who models good behavior and is not overbearing, is not over controlling, but at the same time, I'm going to control the environment that I'm in and that I place my kids in. And so I'm not going to have a bunch of sugary, unhealthy snacks around. I'm not going to have a bunch of frozen chicken nuggets. Now, it's easy for me to say. I know I don't have any kids right now. And I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, wait till you have kids, Nick. And maybe I will have the frozen chicken nuggets. But right now, I'm going to say I'm not. And we'll see what happens when that time comes. But know that your kids are a real life environmental challenge that can hold you back from potentially seeing the weight loss that you want to see. Another part of your environment is the friends that you're going out with. If the friends that you're going out with don't value their health, then you're going to go to restaurants that have very limited options and you're very tempted, and you're going to get peer pressured. And people are not going to be as supportive of you ordering something like a salad with protein at lunch versus a hamburger, or versus a pizza, or versus whatever it is else that you might potentially get at a restaurant that your friends are getting. And so whether or not your friends that you're going out with value health will oftentimes determine the restaurants that you're going to and the things that you order at those particular restaurants. And then on the last component of your environment is your peers or your coworkers. Now, if any of Kennedy's coworkers are listening to this, then, take this with a grain of salt. But Kennedy brings her meals to the hospital that she works at. And she's one of the only people that meal preps her meals. And people give her crap for it. When people go eat Taco Bell and she eats her meal prepped meal, people give her crap for it. And if people were always giving me crap to do something that was difficult, then that would be really annoying. And sometimes you might cave. And so you want to find peers that are supportive of your lifestyle rather than critical. You would ideally like a workplace and coworkers and people that you're hanging around to be supportive of whatever you're doing and applauding you for doing something that is healthy for your body rather than demonizing you and being critical of you for doing something that is healthy to your body. So know that your environment is so important. Like, right? Fat loss is not just about willpower. It's, do you have an environment that is supportive, that is conducive of whatever your health and fitness goals are? Because if your spouse and significant other is not supportive, it's more difficult. If your kids are constantly eating unhealthy things, then it's more difficult. If your friends are constantly going to restaurants that are unhealthy and peer pressuring you, then it's going to be more difficult. If you have coworkers and peers that are critical of healthy behaviors rather than supportive and encouraging, then it's going to make it more difficult. The environment matters. And then the other thing about that I said is the environment and your structure and routine. Like, a lot of people know what to do, but they don't do what they know. And so if you don't have a gym routine that you're going there specific days of the week, it's more difficult. If you don't have a specific breakfast routine, lunch or dinner routine, it makes it that much more difficult. So the structure and routine matters as well. It's not just about willpower. That is lie number 4. Fat loss is not just about willpower, but your environment and your structure matter a lot. And the 5th and final lie is, before I get into it, you need to join the workshop that we're doing tomorrow. nickcarrier.com/intentional. Sign up so that you can hop on a Zoom call with us and you can get organized in the different areas of your life, in your health, your personal life, your career, your finances, your spiritual life, and your relationships. I know you're a driven individual. I know you're trying to make progress in all these areas of life. You're trying to be the best parent you can, the best spouse, grow in your career, be better with your health. And it's like, it's so much to juggle. So come on this workshop so we can organize it all. Go to nickcarrier.com/intentional, and I would love to show you how. Now, the 5th and final lie about fat loss is that supplements are the secret. So many people on social media, I feel like, leverage this, like the top supplements to help you lose body fat. It's like bullcrap. Think about like the 95-5 rule. Like, most people say 80-20 rule, but when it comes to supplements, this is like a 95-5 rule. 95% of weight loss is not going to come from supplements. It's going to come from daily consistency of eating the right things and making sure you're staying consistent with your exercise. Maybe 5% of it. The last little bit could potentially, you could benefit from supplements. That's why they're called supplements. They're supplementary to everything else. So stop picking up pennies and start searching for dollars. Stop looking for supplements and start just be focusing on making sure you're in a little bit of a caloric deficit and doing resistance training and hitting your protein goals and stuff of that nature. Because a lot of people who ask about supplements are typically of the quick fix mentality. They're quickly instant gratification people. They're typically impatient. And so stop searching for the supplements that are going to be secret, because there are basically no supplements out there that will help you burn body fat. There are certain supplements that can help you with performance, that can help improve your blood work, that can help improve your brain health and other things. But supplements with regards to burning body fat, nuh-uh. These 5 lies keep people in a tizzy. These 5 lies are things that people apply in their lives and they don't see progress and they wonder why. It's because they're lies. It's because there's lies. So let me read them again. Again, these are lies. You have to cut out all carbs. Bullcrap. Lie number 2, you need to eat 6 meals a day to stoke your metabolism. Or the flip side of it, you need to do intermittent fasting to lose body fat. Lies. Cardio is king for fat loss. Lies. Fat loss is just about willpower. Lie. Supplements are the secret. Lie, 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 lie. The basics are not sexy. A new supplement, yeah, that's sexy. But eat your fruits and veggies, that's not sexy. A new exercise hack, that sounds sexy. But strength training 3 days a day and doing cardio for 1 to 2 days, that's not sexy. But it's not the sexy things that yield results. It's the basics that, when done consistently, will yield the results that you want. So believe in the basics, be patient, and seek out a lifestyle. Don't chase after results. Chase after an identity. Chase after being a type of person who values the type of food that they put in their mouth, who values the type of movement that they do on a regular basis. be a type of person whose attitude towards health and fitness is one that is focused on healthy habits and routines, not quick fixes. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you maybe hammered in some ideas into you, maybe debunked some myths that you were believing and that were potentially holding you back from getting the results that you want to see. Make sure you join the workshop that we're doing to build a more intentional life. nickcarrier.com/intentional, Thursday, April 17th, 5 p.m. Central Time, nickcarrier.com/intentional. But I hope today helps you get closer to your health and fitness goals. And ultimately, I hope today gets you closer and closer to your best you.